Hey everybody, I'm so excited to be here. It's Colette Baron-Reid, as you know, in a freezing room. So I'm wearing a scarf and a puppy on my lap. And before we start the actual reading for the week, I want to tell you about something super cool. In 5 weeks' time, I'm going to be launching a free video series on the secrets of oracle cards. And I know you love oracle cards because you're here watching me read them every week. Totally free. Stay tuned. More coming. Let's get to the reading. Oh, P.S., the way you're going to get that, how would you know? How would you know unless I keep talking about it? Go to my website, ColetteBaronReid.com, and sign into my newsletter list, and the newsletter is going to tell you when you're going to see that video series, and it's awesome. See you there. Now, if you're new and you've never seen me do this before, well, you're going to pick one card that you see in front of you. This is card number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Think about the number that calls to you and just hold that in your mind because that's going to be a special message for you, like the extra message. But what we're going to do now is turn them all over, and I'm going to tell you the story that represents the energy that's affecting all of us this week. Now, remember, we're in Mercury retrograde. And if you are watching this video after the retrograde is over, just ignore that sentence. But if you're watching it now, we're in Mercury retrograde. And that means we take extra care to go over things. Basically, cross your T's, dot your I's, and make sure that you hear your communication clearly with others and that you are communicating clearly with others. Now, let's take a look at the energy. Now, remember, oracle cards tell stories. That's what they're for. They're storytellers of life experience. And when I read these cards, they come to us through synchronicity. So that's why so many of you write in and go like, oh my God, that was so for me. Because it does represent like our weather. So every one of us is going to experience the weather differently. Like we're all going to have a different raincoat on when it's raining, different color. We've come from a different place. We're going somewhere else. So it's going to be an individual experience that we have, but the general reading is the temperature. It's the sense that through which we engage life. Like all of us are under the same auspicious or inauspicious stars. Let's find out what it is this week. Okay, so let's talk about the first card. First card is called Not For You. Now this is what we call an anchor card, or the first card which anchors the whole story. I love this card. Why? Because it tells us we need to be discerning. We need to know what is not for us. We need to know that when something is denied us, something better is coming, and that there's value in being denied. There is value in being rejected, and there's value in us rejecting others, not necessarily other people, but can be search situations that we know are not okay for us. So this is a week to pare down. It's, by the way, the perfect, because the theme of Mercury retrograde is that's when we go over and look at what's not working, so that, and to define that for ourselves, and we redefine it. Like I find Mercury retrograde is a perfect time to kind of pare away what we know, like it's pruning a tree, for example. Like let's prune the tree now. Let's go over things, not rather than starting brand new things. We're going to go over them. So Not For You, discerningness, that's not a word. Discernment. I'm just like, I've got this little hair that's bothering me on camera, and I'm like, I can't touch my face, but let's keep going. Now let's find out what is not for you. Like what's not for us? Like what are we supposed to be looking at? Exchanging gifts. This is perfect. Okay. So exchanging gifts has a tendency to, when we look at it, to go like, okay, this is the law of reciprocity. What are we putting out? What are we getting back? So I know that when I can get super focused, I went away, I wasn't well, and went away to this amazing place in Chile, and I got so clear, so crystal focused and clear about what was working for me and what had to go, what just wasn't, what was I distracting myself with, what was I wasting my time on? And similarly, this is what our cards are telling all of us this week too. What is it that prevents us from fully engaging the law of reciprocity, which is what we put out, what we want to get back, when we realize I might be putting out all these mixed signals and spending time on the internet surfing, seeing who's saying what to who about what and whatever, which is really a bunch of, like, it's like feeding yourself with empty calories, right? It's just like, oh, yum, 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 yum. And we're just saying, no, now you got to get really discerning. If you say you want something, but you're still doing this and you're willing to tolerate that, you're not going to get that thing that you want. You're not going to be able to be present to other people the way you want or serve in the highest way you want if you're kind of dirtying your own waters. So this week it's asking us to say, okay, what's distracting us? Let's get rid of it. Let's say, not for me, this isn't working. And also, even if we want to do something, somebody invites us to something, we're like, oh, that looks really good. But our motives are kind of unclear because we think, oh, we're going to get something if we go. Ask ourselves what our motives are this week too before you jump and say yes to everything that's being offered to you. And conversely, saying no to anything. So it's really about, what do I say yes to? What do I say no to? And what is it about my own worthiness and dignity that's really at the basis of all of that? So this is something for us to think about this week. Yes, Happy Happy. It's one of my favorite cards in this deck. We are redesigned. What makes us happy, right? So I had to think about that when I was away too. Like, what do I really love doing? Like, I love doing video. I love doing this. I love talking to people. I love getting online. And I'm not doing enough of that. And I'm like, I really am writing a book. I'm writing oracle cards. Do I really want to keep writing this thing over there every week? So it's like saying to yourself, well, what do I love doing? And know that it serves and it comes back. And it's like this beautiful roundabout of energy, and that energizes you and doesn't take away from your energy. So this is also a question to ask yourself, what makes you happy? And are you doing that thing that makes you happy? And if you're not, what could you shift? Even a tiny shift. You hear me talk about teeny tiny shifts, right? How can I make that small change enough for me to start feeling that joyful quality when I say no to taking on the burdens of others, for example? That's a good one. Okay, sleeping puppy break. If you would like to see my dog awake, well, then you better subscribe to my channel. And when you do, a little bell pops up and you click on the bell. That means you're going to get a notification sent to your inbox every week when we put up our videos on YouTube. So usually you'll get two. You'll get the 6-card reading for the week, which is your energy forecast. And then you're going to get a little bit more personal reading when I do the Astro Oracle reading the next day. So hopefully you will get a chance to see alive and happy dogs, not sleeping, snoring ones, on my lap. Now let's see this one. Yes, flexibility. So whenever I get the flexible card, I always think, where am I being too rigid? I go right there. It's like, and I have a tendency to not like change. I don't know if many of you like change, but when I'm onto something and I think it's great, if somebody comes in and goes, I can do it better, like, should we try this? I typically will go, no. My poor team. And then I'll go, well, okay, let's hear it. So that's the thing. Like, where are you allowing yourself to be flexible and where are you not? Where do you prevent the flexibility needed in your life to also allow yourself to try things? Like, do you go to the store and just see a shirt and go, that's my shirt, and just buy it without trying it on? You have to try it on. It might look fantastic on the hanger, but when you put it on, like, oh my God, I didn't realize my boobs look like that. like, oh, that looked really good on the mannequin, not so good on me. So, right? Why would you do life any different? You got to allow yourself the experience of trying things and giving yourself the opportunity to say no or find out that you might fail at something because it's really not for you. So that's also something to consider this week. Are you flexible around checking things out to decide, like, does this make me happy? I'm not really sure. Am I doing it to please somebody else, or am I doing it to avoid a confrontation? Am I doing this to people please? What's my motive? And then be a little flexible and say, like, ooh, nothing has to be perfect. You have to go, maybe I should try a different way. I might not feel 100% comfortable, but trying something a little different, knowing I have to say no to the thing that's not working, but I'm not quite sure what the thing is that's gonna work, and knowing that you don't have to be perfect at it and you can change your mind, right? You're allowed to change your mind. And Blessed is also an excellent card. So if I were to look at Blessed, that's card number 5. And Blessed looks at flexible because it's the way the card is actually looking. The face turns towards this other face. And I know for me that when I let go, so flexible in this position, when I see it beside blessed, I go, yeah, that's really also about surrender. So flexibility can be, can I surrender to the highest good, even if I don't know exactly what it is? When I know what it isn't, I have to see, okay, I'm going to surrender to the possibility that I may not know, and that the universe might have an answer through someone else, that could give me good advice about doing something a little differently. And so this is a great week. Perfect timing, by the way, for this reading in Mercury retrograde. I mean, it really is a perfect Mercury retrograde, and it's a nice soft Mercury retrograde too, so we like the softer ones. Here we go. End result, card number 6 is the Observer. So I'd say that if we start from not for you and we end in the Observer tells us to be in a more detached, observant position, to remind ourselves that the world really isn't personal. And as much as that's difficult to imagine, but try not to take the world so personally, and you're going to feel a lot stronger, as opposed to feeling like the world is a series of machine guns that's like trying to catch you every 5 seconds. Or like I used to think when I was an active addict, that's like 35 years ago, because it's been 34 years since I've been clean and sober, but I really believed that God was following me around with a fly swatter going, right? I'm like, oh, she's a mistake. And I don't see that at all now, right? But I did. I took everything so personally. I thought everything was at me or to me, and I didn't believe the world happened for me, of course, until I knew better. So remember that standing back and being a little bit more detached also about the decisions that we make around the changes that we have to make, the shifts, what we have to say no to, and also when something is withheld from us, since the not for you card is at the top of the reading, like, this isn't happening as fast as I wanted it to. So instead of being pissy about it and like going, man, it's not supposed to be that way, we're like, maybe there's a reason why this isn't happening the way I wanted it to, when I wanted it to, how I wanted it to, and the way I wanted it to. Not sure if you identify with that one, but sometimes I feel like that. And this is the week to just know that we're blessed, got to be flexible, keep in touch with what makes us happy, remembering that there's a law of reciprocity. Whatever energy that we put into something is what's going to come back to us. So how much focus are you putting into X in your life? Who knows what that is? Even take a look, do a little inventory. Like, how much time do you stay on social media? How much time do you read the gossip magazines? How much time do you, look at people's feeds to see who's saying nasty things about them? Not that you would, but people do that. But how much time are you getting all roiled up about things that you really feel powerless about, because it just feeds more powerlessness? And then versus how much time do you really focus on what you say you want and what you say makes you happy? And then by the end of the week, you're going to be able to have a really pretty good inventory that Mercury retrograde, I can't say that very well today, Mercury retrograde periods have a tendency to require of us. So rather than having it tell us by showing us circumstances, why don't we get a head start and work with Mercury retrograde and take a look at that through that lens? And we will have an amazing experience if we do that. Okay. I will see you for the Astro Oracle tomorrow. Bye. I'm freezing. It's so cold. See ya.